Good morning. On the corridor, on behalf of the steering committee of Internet of Brazil and NIC.br, I thank everyone for your participation and those that follow us through the Internet to the IX Fórum 12 that follows the 8th week of Internet infrastructure in Brazil. Now we will have two videos of 1 minute each that explain in a summarized fashion what is CGI.br, NIC.br, and our Centers for Studies and Research. Can you imagine if you wouldn't have the right of freedom of speech? Your private data were announced without authorization, or if you had your surfing filtered by commercial interests. Freedom of speech, privacy, neutrality of the network are very important for the Internet, and these are one of the 10 main principles that are seen by the steering committee of the Internet. Thanks to this, you have constant innovation, safety, and guidelines for the development of the Internet. Everything is done in a cooperative fashion, transparent and democratic way. The committee has representatives of all the sectors of society. Decisions are made through dialogue with the participation of all the members until we reach a consensus. And the Brazilian model of governance has become a worldwide reference. CGI.br, a better internet for Brazil. When you register a domain.br, you're contributing to improve the internet in Brazil. Each domain that uses .br is registered by NIC.br, an information and coordination center of .br. In addition to registering domain, they see security incidents, projects of technology, and research that bring indicators regarding technologies of information communication and deployment of local exchange in the Internet. And here we contribute with the global development of the web. Everything because NIC.br is a civil private entity with no a nonprofit, and it's stable and it's reliable, and the proceeds of the domain turns into development of infrastructure, bringing benefits for everybody that uses the Internet in Brazil. All of this innovation, state-of-the-art technology, safety, and infrastructure is possible because you have a domain.br, NIC.br, pursuing the best for our Internet. We would like to remind you that detailed information regarding these projects and actions are available in our sites, NIC.br and CGI.br. We will have now our sponsorship, and we will have the video from Abranet. How much can you put in a day? 24 hours, 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. You're on a couch when you go to bed. Good night. This is everything that we could have in a common day until Internet emerged. And here first you had the modem with its noise, and we would have to wait a long time. We have the DNSs. Here we have email, the chat become a success, and communication is instantaneous. There is new vocabulary, new brands, new sites, new portals, banks, supermarkets, stores, everything is online. Nobody wants to waste time. The new celebrities of the Internet emerge. Now we have Internet transactions that increase exponentially. Well, what you could fit in one day is more than yesterday, is less than yesterday and more than tomorrow. Now, this is a moment to thank all the sponsors of this edition that demonstrate their commitment with the development of Internet of Brazil, supporting our initiatives, and to broaden the discussions regarding the Internet. We would also like to thank Google, Abranet, and Oaths, Cisco, TEDx Extreme, Seaborn, and PS Fiends, our MTT Communications, GlobeNet, Facebook, Angola Cables, Technique, UPX Technologies, Telxius, and LA30. Thank you very much. Now we would like to call Demi Getko, the chairman of NIC.br. Good morning to everyone. I will be very brief. I learned this morning today is the day of the engineer. It's a very important day. This is the 12th forum, and this is the 46 GTR and the 32nd GTS, and it's very good to see that these things remain. In the beginning, GTR, GTSs were volunteer groups that were engaged in basic activities that were very central of network management and also safety, and this volunteer work is a characteristic from the internet that comes from the beginning. People like to cooperate. This is volunteer. These are volunteer efforts to have good guidelines and norms to resolve problems, and we are very fortunate to see this still working. Now, this forum has existed for 12 years, and this forum has a number of branches. The technical branch, we will have talks about the update of the situation, and we will have something that is very important, that is the dialogue that is amongst everybody. This is a networking, so people can talk to each other through coffee breaks, and I believe that trust emerges when people are able to meet each other and to talk. Now in this event, I believe that you have the schedule in front of you. We were very careful because we wanted to show what IX is in a global context, because otherwise you will think that you have a Brazilian fruit here in Brazil, and Brazil has some things. Well, to have this Brazilian berries are very good, but this is not the case. In our case, we didn't create a Brazilian berry, and we believe that we will have talks from Germany, we will have talks from Amsterdam and global people. So we want a general discussion so that everybody becomes aware that this is an important initiative for the internet by and large. This happens everywhere, and our initiative is also very successful. This is an important part. Now, regarding good norms and problems or rules, this year we had some problems regarding equipment with some problems, and this happens because there are things that work and things that work sometimes don't work. And this is a constant action that we have to be very careful about. We will have some talks about good practices and also accident recovery. So we will have an interesting discussion here. Another discussion that perhaps took some time is to see how you sustain these initiatives. We are trying, at least from the support point of view, from the operational cost to a view, to generate some type of support and sustainability. This is why São Paulo and Rio want ports not to, but we want to have a working condition. We have a talk about prices and what the prices are abroad. And there's no problem in seeing if our situation is cheaper, more expensive. But here we're cheaper, let's put it this way. And another point that I would recommend are initiatives that have two different ways. One of them would be the institutional formal way, that would be open CDM. And the other one that we see spontaneously in some points of exchange of traffic in the country. People group to work on this on their own. These two things will merge at a given moment because it is important to be able to deliver attractive content in places that are not very populated and that the costs are divided amongst participants, giving benefits to everyone. So this is part of the program, something that started last year that we will continue this year and shows the sectoriality of the process and engages all the areas of NIC, not only CEPT or the registry, is the Safe Internet Initiative. This is doing fine. We have an expert that was hired to help us, that is Gilberto, and Cinetele Brasil, Abranet. A number of people participate in this initiative. I encourage you to take part of this talk. And we also have a North American expert that worked in the root servers in the beginning of ICANN and the network. John Brown, he will have his keynote speaker. He will be the keynote speaker tomorrow. And I believe that he is one of the person that has been engaged from the beginning and knows about the internet in details and knows all the importance of the process. So before us, we have a great schedule. And just to end my talk, and we had 15 days ago, we had the GEF. The GEF took place in Paris. And what I would like to highlight of the IGF was a talk of Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN now, and the talk of Emmanuel Macron, the French president, that spoke an hour and something, and he gave us details, technical details, something very rare to see in a president. But he's starting to approach the internet in a different way in France that would be different and and very different from what Chinese and the Americans do. So you have the initiative from the U.S. and you have a closer approach from the Chinese, and Macron is trying to spearhead something. Of course, he has his political interests. He's not in favor or against, and he's launching a new project that has some details, and we should be careful about. He talks about, I don't know, hygienize the internet. I don't know what that means, and something that is complicated. He said that we would need some type of regulation. And it's interesting. He said the regulation that he proposes is not top-down, where the government regulates something, but it's bottom-up, where the participants would be platforms, would regulate something. This, for me, is perilous, and it's complicated at the same time because I thought that these things were more passive than active. I wouldn't like to have a platform choosing who can or who cannot go on air. This is a hot topic right now. This undergoes safety, security, engineering. Here, this undergoes technical solutions. Yesterday, we had an important meeting. Tim Beversley was talking hours about these approaches, if they should be more technical, more political. How can you outline an international policy and to have borderless internet? And we from the technical community should engage here. And I would also like to say that one of the debates was artificial intelligence, that now is in vogue. Everybody, ITO, IGF, everybody talks about this. And this is something a bit more delicate. It's not something new. For a long period of time, we've been discussing AI, but we've had great advance in this area. And I would like to mention two things. Once there is a text from Kissinger that was Secretary of State from the U.S., and he's called The Atlantic. It's the death of the Illuminism, and I read that incidentally, and at the end he gives us a diagnosis, and they don't highlight it much, but I liked his statement. He says in the 1700s, in the 1800s, there was a there was an objective to pursue that was established by the thinkers of the day, by the humanists and the illuminists, and is to have a society along these lines. And then technology in a certain way, was trying to generate means today. That was like the press. In the current days, according to Kissinger, things are the other way around. Technology is chasing a target defined by technology, and there is no ethic, moral foundation of thought that sustains this. Yeah, and with the best of the intentions, we really don't remember towards where we're going. He says that it's time to think about this, and not everything that is possible should be done. And in this IGF, I was part of the panel. I had to say something. Then I remembered about a story. There is a poem from Jorge Luis Borges called Golem. Golem is a science fiction story. Perhaps you saw it somewhere. The Golem. In Prague, there was a rabbi that wanted to protect the Jewish community of Prague, and in those days you would do this. So he decided to use clay and to build a human through clay, and this humanoid, he wanted it to have life and to have characteristics, and he involved in his poem. He says that to create life, you would need to unite the letters that make up the name of God. It's like breaking the password. And for some word, he broke into the password. And on the head of the golem, he said Inet, that means truth. And golem became alive. He didn't talk, would clean, would sweep, would defend. And in Borges' poem, for example, the cat is afraid of golem. But the fact that this golem that was created to defend the community from the rabbi Lev became violent, did very weird things, and the rabbi repented of creating this being. And then the solution was to give the emet. He erased the word emet, and then we have met, that means death, and then golem died. So I mentioned this because the artificial intelligence can be a golem that we're creating to help us, and perhaps at the end of the line we will have problems with this. This reminds me a statement from Gomide that passed away, and this is Robert Burns' poem called A un rato. He said the best plans of men in rats, the best plans of men and rats go down the drain because they go down the tail, he says. We desire all of you an excellent meeting. I wish you a Merry Christmas, and please buy a BR as a present, as an excellent Christmas present. We will have great sales available on the internet. Thank you very much.